Welcome to the Bourbon Van. I'm Phil.
I'm Julie.
And today we're sipping whiskey that's almost as old as me.
Not even close.
Oh. Well, today we are sipping a special bottle to me in a special place. This is the Red Beds just outside of Devil's Tower National Monument here in Wyoming. It's a spectacularly beautiful place. The whiskey is special to me because it's what Julie bought me for my birthday. Birthday bottle, Calumet Farm, single rack black, 15-year whiskey. They say it's sourced from Barton, 1792 Distilling, but what's more exciting than a bottle of 15-year-old bourbon gifted to you by somebody, being enjoyed in a special place? What a day. I can't wait to get into this one.
And when this comes out, it won't be the first day of fall then, but it's the first day of fall now.
Is it really?
And it's 84 degrees outside.
Oh,
I'll take it.
Awfully good to me right now.
Yeah.
Well, this whiskey here, we are going to nose it. We will check out the palate. We'll check out the finish. We'll talk a little bit about comparable bottles, maybe a little bit about value, and give it a final judgment. What do you say?
Let's do it.
All right.
As soon as this wind kicks down real quick. Well, onto the nose.
Onto the nose. Here we go.
Well, it smells like 15 years.
Does it?
No, I don't know.
I get vanilla frosting here and sweet oak and nice bourbon notes, but there's definitely some inviting smells here.
Definitely a lot of that sweet oak is coming through on the nose.
Yeah.
It's
Caramel
nice.
sauce. Yeah, it's super nice, right?
It does smell distinctively bourbon.
Yeah. The caramel sauce, a little bit of baked red fruit maybe.
There's a little bit of cinnamon there too.
I agree.
It's like a nice pie.
It is like a nice pie, and it's beautiful to look at. There's a rusty color here that I really like. I don't know, the shadows are wreaking havoc here, but kind of looks nice against the red beds back there. I think we need to go in for a taste.
Let's do it.
Cheers.
Cheers, everyone. Ooh, she's a spicy gal.
Peppery.
Very peppery.
Well-aged, bitter oak. It's not the sweetest oak on the palate like it is on the nose.
I will say that I like it better right now than I did a couple weeks ago when I tried it for the first time.
Who wouldn't like it around here?
There's some nice dark brown sugar on this one.
Really dark brown sugar, yeah. Cooked down. There's like a bright red cherry, almost a candied cherry. And even just a tiny hint of like an apricot or something like that. That's not a note I get a lot. That's real specific here.
Ooh, she is peppery. I think she drinks a lot hotter than her proof point. Getting nice and warm.
I would agree with that. And there's the oak tannins, that sort of, it's more than just bitter oak, it's a ton of the tannin flavor that you don't always get. And obviously well aged. I don't know about this one. I really do like it. There's elements that I love, but the bitterness of that really old oak kind of gets onto like the sides and the back of my tongue, and it kind of holds on for dear life.
This does taste aged. And
Absolutely.
And it might sound a little bit weird, but there's just something about the flavor of that oak, from the sweet oak to, like you said, like more of a bitter oak on the palate. There's something that kind of lingers and kind of grabs hold. And I definitely think it's that 15-year-old age statement.
Yeah. And even what you said about there being a super dark brown sugar, it's almost somehow burnt. It almost tastes like a cooked down fruit dish that somehow got burned a little bit, because there's just that hint of bitterness. I don't dislike it, and it is a great indicator that it's well aged. I just wonder if maybe it tastes a touch over aged to me, at least to my particular palate.
Yeah, and I was just thinking about the finish, and it's interesting because it has a bit of a mintiness on the finish that I was not expecting.
Yeah.
Which kind of goes back to, we said it had kind of a sweeter nose, and that finish comes off even a little bit sweet. And the palate, all pepper, brown sugar.
Exactly. There is one weird thing that shows up for the finish for me occasionally on this bottle. I've noticed it. We've had this bottle 3 times. Twice when I've tasted it, buttered popcorn on the finish, only on the finish.
Do you know what's so interesting? I was just thinking how the roof of my mouth was feeling a little bit numb. And it's almost the same feeling that you get when you're eating a really buttery piece of popcorn. It kind of just like sticks up there.
Exactly.
So that's kind of hilarious that you said that.
It's real weird. It's a full experience.
Yeah. So for me on the finish as well, more of that peppery note. I think more of like a white pepper. it's a peppery drink. She's a peppery gal.
It is. One of the things that shows up on the finish, that now shows up on the nose for me the longer I drink this, is leather. And because of that sort of the well-agedness of the oak and the leather, the sweet and the spicy, there's a ton going on here. And so somehow it still does manage to come off as being well balanced, which is a trick to pull off when it's a 15-year aged whiskey with so many elements. Ultimately, for me, I go back to the price on this one. We haven't really talked about this yet. This is a bottle from Western Spirits. It is likely sourced from Barton, 1792, like we said, 105 proof, but it sells for $130, or at least that's what we paid for it. $130 for 15-year whiskey, that's where I'm getting a little bit hung up here.
Yeah, I remember when we cork popped this one, I was a little disappointed with my first dram paying that $130. I am enjoying it today. I'm liking it a lot better. That price point is a little tough. You're paying for that 15-year age statement, though.
Absolutely. And the thing is, I just want to mention a couple of bottles that are sort of in that neighborhood, both for price and for age. And price, right off the bat, I'm thinking about the Elijah Craig 18. We bought that for about the same price. It's only 90 proof, but it was more of a sort of straight ahead bourbon experience. This one makes you work for your flavors a little bit.
Yeah.
I do think that this one's a little bit more satisfying and rewarding. So, you know, if you're comparing those two, I think I probably would go with the Cal Farm.
I would agree with that, with the rewarding aspect. The 18, our bottle was delicious. It's been a little hit or miss for other people.
Yeah.
I do like the complexity of this one a little bit more.
It is a very complex drink, yeah. And talking about other 15-year age statements, Dickel 15.
Oh, we love the Dickel.
It's Tennessee whiskey, and yeah, it's got a little Dickel to it, but it is awfully good whiskey. We bought that for under $60 for 15-year-old whiskey. It's a single barrel, so obviously, again, you're talking about variance between bottles, but it's absolutely fantastic. And it may not, again, be as complex as this one, but you're still getting to try a 15-year aged whiskey that is very tasty. And in my opinion, for half the price to try a 15-year aged whiskey, I'm going with the Dickel on that one.
Ooh,
Fighting words?
maybe.
But I'm a Dickel fan. I do like that flavor profile. So for me to say that, it's only because that one hits my palate.
Right.
Oh, you know, this one hits my palate nicely too, but neither one of them is so much further out in front of the other one that I would say, oh, don't spend the 55, spend the 130. I just can't do it. And there's one other bottle that I think there's some familiarity here, and it's 1792, aged 12 years, likely made by the same distillery. The aged 12 years, I am not a fan of. I think it is overly oaky, tannin, almost so dry it's not really enjoyable. This one, to me, is a far better experience, even though there's a lot of tannin here. The complexity, the flavor, there's a lot more here, I think, to enjoy. One of the exciting things about this bottle is the fun of finding all the flavors in it. Because after being aged for that long, there's a ton going on here. So in my opinion, I like this whiskey a lot. I think it was a lovely gift to receive for my birthday. The fun is in the complexity and finding the flavors. If you're wondering if it's worth 130 though, I'm gonna say no.
I just want to point out to your note about the complexity, the nose is lovely on this. It just keeps popping up new and different flavors every time.
Ever-changing,
Yeah, it's interesting.
And
it's an interesting bottle.
And we're in the wind today, and I can still smell it even though I'm holding it well below my nose.
Yeah.
So there's a lot going on here, a lot of complexity, like we said, but you have to decide for yourself if you're gonna spend over $100 on a bottle of whiskey. Oh boy, you better really like it to make it worth your while. And this one, as much as we do like it, definitely a one and done. Last year's 14, we've had a couple of times, really enjoyed that one. We thought that that one had maybe a little less complexity, but a lot more sweet oak. There's some interesting things to think about right there, and maybe someday we'll get the chance to do them side by side, or whatever they come out with next year, we'll have another look. So I don't think there's anything left to say about this one.
Nope, let's wrap it up.
All right, well, from wherever we are.
To wherever you are.
Cheers.
Cheers.
It is oaky.